Surprise! Welcome to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Neil Rule. It is Tuesday, May 27th, 2020.
Big D!
Big D. And of course, I am here with Darren McCarty, or should I call you Dapper Darren McCarty today?
Ooh,
look at this man. Look at this man today. You look absolutely fantastic. What's the occasion?
Appreciate that. Anybody who knows, who follows the Canadian Hockey League, which is where a lot of the young prospects, including myself and all the rest of the grind line, Joe Kosher, Kirk Maltby, and Chris Draper came out of the championship tournament is up in Saginaw, so the grind line will be up there today, signing autographs from 5 to 6, doing a hot stove lounge, talk about our experiences. I know, Sam, here's the one thing that I figured out. If I gave you my junior stats, you would actually give me the props for what it is, because 32 years ago, I won OHL Player of the Year.
Hey, your junior stats were electric. And you were valuable on those Stanley Cup teams.
Thank you.
There, I said it for everybody. But speaking of a Stanley Cup, speaking of
it's like he swore. Hey, is that like, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, but go ahead.
Speaking of Stanley Cup playoffs, we have Korean Jesus in the sound booth today. KG is out. How are you feeling about your Dallas Stars?
Well, great weekend for me. After Friday's roasting, I enjoyed this weekend very much, and I look forward to the rest of the series. No victory lap today or anything like that. Just there's 4 more games left, so it's going to be a good series, and hopefully we win in 6.
I know that because you're Korean Jesus, that by definition you're the Messiah, but how are you feeling about your Messiah, Jamie Benn?
Jamie Benn is definitely not my Messiah. My Messiah would be Tyler Seguin, or in correct terms for the team this year, it'd be Ottinger, because Ottinger has been out of his mind winning this series for them. He's the key, and he will be the key moving forward.
So let's talk a little bit right here while we got out of the rip about that game last night. And I think it was apropos and everything too, as if you've listened to Jesus and I talk or break down this Dallas Edmonton series, right? Pedigree right there. What it come down to. Neil brought it up, and yes, Edmonton came out hard at home and stuff like this, but Edmonton can score, but you're always in the game. You know that you're always in the game. And Dallas right there yesterday, resilience, leadership from their captain Jamie Benn, from their top guys Tyler Seguin, obviously Jason Robertson with the hat trick and stuff like this. That's what they needed, right? Like that sets, and I love the way your attitude. I don't think it's changed. I think it's just more subdued to the fact of how harder it is, but you should be really confident, and you're absolutely right, because did we not say that it would come down to goaltending in the series? And
100%.
Yesterday, and even you didn't like the way it got off. You're down 2-0 and stuff like this, but you just have that feel. So again, Dallas showing their pedigree, but again, you can't count Edmonton out. It just made it, like we said, such an exciting playoff. Sam, that's where my question goes to all of you. Are you watching more NBA playoffs or NHL playoffs, or would you say both?
I'll tell you what, in the finals, so far in the conference finals, I've been watching more NHL playoffs because I have not cared about that Boston-Indiana series in the NBA at all. So I really haven't watched that series that much. But I've been watching both NHL series for sure.
Yeah, Boston has kind of gotten... It's funny because they were already such a dominant Eastern Conference team, and then Giannis goes down, Jimmy Butler goes down, Tyrese Halliburton goes down in these last couple of games. They've pretty much gotten a cakewalk, but at the same time, if they go on and win the NBA championship, nobody's going to care about that. But it looks like there might be a couple of sweeps, and just going back to the Dallas game, Kyle's fed in the chat, Justin Robertson is going God mode.
Yeah. Jason Robertson,
yes.
His brother went God mode and tech mode last night.
Yeah.
But.
Absolutely. No, 100%. I think sometimes they sell him a little bit short when they say that Dallas doesn't have a star.
Well, did you also understand that he'd had no goals in the past 10 games? So you know what? Like there's different types.
Yep.
So playoff hockey, right? It doesn't matter who steps up. Like you look in the other side, right? You got Zach Hyman, who's got 13 cookies in this playoffs. It seems like Adam Henrique scored yesterday, and I was like, oh, my God, he's on that team? No secondary scoring. Even though that Robertson's one of their top-line guys, Dallas has been getting through by the support of the whole roster, right? That's where Edmonton sort of comes short. The one thing that I like, though, is what you see, Sam, in the playoffs, and I think it's apropos in basketball, too, is when all-star caliber talent, when 40-goal guys and stuff get hot, that's when they're in. So to Juzis's pleasure, I would like to say, I think that just woke up that line.
Oh, for sure.
Right? And still, right? Are you Rupe Hintz? Right? So he's not 100%. He got in the series yesterday?
He's coming back in the next game, I believe.
So that's what I mean. And so the way that you're able to go on the road, it's just as important now with what Dallas does with it. Edmonton did the same thing first game on the road, but they double faulted on their serve. So it'll be interesting with because that invigorates guys. Biggest game of the year, right? This is how playoff, and especially in hockey, right? 2 games ago, it was the biggest game of the year for Dallas at home. 2 games later, it's the biggest game of the year for Edmonton at home, right? Isn't it brilliant?
Yeah. It's playoff hockey. And I gave you the stat that they lost 7 straight game ones and won 5 of the 6 of the series. And I didn't break my confidence then, and it only reinforces my confidence now in this Dallas Stars team because its styles make fights. Edmonton's going to live or die on the run and gun, and they fell on the sword last night for it. And you'll probably see it one more time in this series.
Jesus, that's going to be a very prophetic stat if it comes true again for the Dallas Stars. They just often lose game ones and then come back, and it's looking like it might turn out that way again. Spenny, how are you feeling about the Western Conference Finals? I know after game 1, you kind of mentioned that you could see Dallas sweeping. Do you think they're going to finish it off?
I think they will, honestly. I think you look at what the level of play you're getting out of Luka and Kyrie Irving is just too much for the Minnesota Timberwolves to handle. And I told Chris on the heavyweights that the bigs of Dallas were going to give the bigs of Minnesota hell because Gafford, PJ Washington, and Lively are all more athletic and better in space than Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, and that's what it's been. Like they haven't been able to keep up with those guys on the perimeter. Rudy Gobert's a fraud. Karl Anthony Towns like 35% true shooting percentage in this series. It's just bad. And yeah, I think, like I said, Kyrie Irving 14-0 in closeout games in his career. So I think he makes it 15-0 tonight.
You know, I've definitely been a little disappointed in Karl Anthony Towns because I've always been a bit of a defender of his, and I'll give him credit for what he did being that second fiddle to get the team to the conference championship by beating Denver. But this series, he's just been 28% shooting, 14% from behind the arc on 7 attempts per game. And this is a Timberwolves team that has lost their 3 games by a combined 13 points. If Karl Anthony Towns, that tells me if Karl Anthony Towns even has a normal bad shooting game, that maybe they've gotten a game or 2 in this series right now. But alas, that has not been the case. But for me, I've got a little bit of a personal vendetta. And Spenny, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on this. I'm kind of happy Anthony Edwards is struggling just a little bit. I understand that he's not been god-awful like Karl Anthony Towns, but Anthony Edwards, I know he's one of your favorite players, and I have a lot of respect for him, but how do you feel about how he's played?
No, he hasn't stepped up like he should have. He's a young player, you know. This is his first conference finals. Obviously, he's going to be back, but when your other guys aren't playing to your level or to the level that they should, if you're the superstar, it's on you to step up and make some things happen. But I'd say Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns are a much bigger factor in them being down 0-3 than Anthony Edwards is.
No, that's fair.
But don't you see that there's levels to this, boys? And it doesn't matter what league, but winning. Because what are you seeing right now? Right? You're seeing a team, right? With a guy, like how many times is the Kyrie Irving? Like, but he's found his place. And with Luka and the team around him, right? There's levels to this. I think it's so important, and I think I'm seeing it more in basketball. Like you said, these guys haven't been to this stage before, right? And they're not performing. But again, is that just, do you have to cut them some slack because, you know, you expect them to be here, you expect them to be better? But I give Dallas more credit.
No, I mean,
the way they're coached, the way that you figured out Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving in Cleveland right now.
100%.
Is he not?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a human highlight reel, and the fact to be able to play, because he's not like he's like, if you look at this system right here, it's sort of like back where Luka's your LeBron, but Kyrie is the guy that stirs the drink. Like, how much better has he made Luka? How much more like confident? Luka's Luka, but it's just being able to spread it out. Spreading, I think you make up a great point. It's the leadership or lack of it, Minnesota. And I look at more of Rudy Gobert and guys that have been there in the moment that aren't using their leadership or their experience to help their teammates.
Well, yeah, and for the record, I'm not going to crucify Anthony Edwards for struggling a little bit in his first long playoff run. I mean, many players throughout history have had some rough patches in their early on playoff career. However, and I think Alan W. puts this very correctly, which is my kind of vendetta. No excuses when you all want to call him Baby Jordan, but crucify 39-year-old LeBron. Like when, oh my God, LeBron missed that box out on Aaron Gordon. He's a bum. He's terrible. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. The Anthony Edwards fans got on my last nerve after a while because the old head NBA fans just blow their wads over Anthony Edwards. The same people that are like, I stopped being a Lakers fan once LeBum got there. He don't have that killer mentality like Kobe. Just, Anthony Edwards. And I was just about done with that. And I don't hate Anthony Edwards. I just, I am, as you can see, I have a little bit of a personal vendetta, and the fact that he's probably going to go out in 4 doesn't necessarily make me upset. I know logically that I'm not going to crucify him for it. I think it's just Luka's time at this point, and he's a better player at a different stage of the exit. I had to get that out there.
Is Dallas doing this to Minnesota, or is Minnesota choking?
I think Dallas is doing this to Minnesota.
I believe that too, and watching it. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're putting him in spot. I think it's coaching. You look at, it always seems to me Minnesota's playing from behind or playing catch up or reacting instead of acting. And we go to switch it over to hockey to the Dallas. They're acting, and I'll give Cats credit for one thing. His basketball takes brutal, but his hockey, as far as Dallas has played their best hockey facing the most adversity. And that's what, down 0-2 to Vegas, down at home and stuff like that. That's the pedigree and stuff like this. And then I think you're seeing it from, and I believe that the city is feeding off both.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure. And there are 3 things that I think go into hand of the Mavericks having a lot of success that go under the radar. One is Jason Kidd and what he's doing. Like, a lot of people said Luka and Kyrie not going to work, that's a tandem that won't work together, and Jason Kidd has them playing at an extremely high level, both on the court at the same time. I think Reggie Miller said it, having Luka and Kyrie on the same team is like having Mariano Rivera and Dennis Eckersley. Like, you got 2 guys that are probably the 2 best closers in the NBA. So when it comes down to a close game, you know you got 2 guys that are going to hit shots down the stretch. And on top of that, Stan Van Gundy said they are the best offensive backcourt in the history of the NBA, and I agree. I've never seen an offensive backcourt in the NBA's history that is on the same level as these 2 guys when it comes to scoring the basketball.
You know what the key is, and I think Ski Mask Boy brought it up? When's the last time you seen Kyrie smile?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
No, but he's having fun, and that means that, you know what I see, Spenny? That's like playing out on the court or whatever with you and your boy, and it's like, okay, what are we going to run here? And you look at each other and go, okay, you go, or I go, or you go. And there's no defense for it, right? NBA is mostly focusing, shutting down that one guy. They can't focus on it. And you brought up a great point that I think that Jason Kidd needs more credit because of the way that he not only got them to play together. Like, we're talking, how many times are we saying, the Kyrie, I'm not hearing no flat earth. I ain't hearing nothing about that. I just see this guy balling, smiling, having fun. I mean, you got to think, like what you said, whoever said it's like Luka's destiny, it's his time.
For sure.
It is.
I'd like to touch on one more thing with the hockey before we go to break.
Go for it.
Because it really bothers me. There's a narrative that people are rooting for the Oilers for Ken Holland. And yes, I was talking about this with Spenny. Yes, he did make some deals that kind of saved us from the real hell that we were in when he left us in 2016 or 2017. But he still left us in cap hell with a talent deficiency. And I can't get behind that narrative that people are rooting for the Oilers because Ken Holland did so much for Detroit, because at the end of the day, he left us in the gutter.
Yeah, but you're not even Jesus. They got a choice between Edmonton and Dallas, right? Which aren't, you know what I'm saying? No, but so people are going to look through, okay, this is I get what you're saying, and you're right. You get the same way as you can jump on the Jim Nill train, who's the general manager, who was the assistant general manager, and a part of all our championships too. So it's really not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying. Why? Because you're right on board with Neil would say, fuck this guy. Like, not personally, but he left our team and stuff like this. You should cheer for the underdog, whatever. But to me, it's irrelevant.
It just irks
It's a Western Conference.
because
it's not our conference. It's not. I get it. You gotta.
David reasoning is fine. I'm all good with how you guys want the best player to win the cup and have that on his resume. I'm all good with that. That makes sense to me. I just don't understand why you'd be rooting for Ken Holland.
Right.
And that's all well and good, but you know who you should root for when it comes to defense every single time. That is Guardian Alarm.
Absolutely. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real expert professional technicians to take the time to recommend security and automated solutions specific to your needs. But I need you to call Guardian Alarm today. The number 1-800.
Stay out.
24/7 professional monitoring. Call anytime, day or night. Know the Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as it's needed. But I need you to call the number 1-800.
Stay out.
Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves. Technology has been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Business, pleasure, Guardian, they don't care. They just want you to call the number 1-800.
Stay out. Stay out of shooting threes all day, Cat. You're looking like a bum out there, bud.
I second that. Jesus Christ, he's shooting them out of the series.
Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Tell them Big Dan Energy, we sent you.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is taking over Michigan. Their locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit. They have doubled their number of stores this year. Known for their quality hand-battered, hand-breaded chicken tenders, delicious chicken sandwiches, and New York-style pizza. You can find them at any mega station near you, or go to Sorokis.com to figure out where you can get some of this delicious food.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Neil Rule. We got four-time Stanley Cup champion with the Detroit Red Wings, Darren McCarty, to my left. We've got Korean Jesus in the sound booth, and we have Spencer Raxter, as always, in the TD booth. And before we move on to local stuff like the Tigers, we're going to talk about them, a little bit of Lions later. I didn't get to mention it in the first segment, but RIP to Basketball Hall of Famer Bill Walton, of course. He had died at the age of 71 after a battle with cancer. And Bill Walton is just one of those guys, had one of the most unique careers in NBA history. Obviously, one of the most decorated college players of all time. 3-time player of the year, 2-time national champion at UCLA. Comes to the NBA, wins an MVP and an finals MVP within his first couple of years. But has a career that's a bit plagued by injuries, and by a bit plagued by injuries, that is an understatement. Probably the most, had his career derailed by injuries more than any player in NBA history. And there's the post from Woodward Sports Twitter. NBA Hall of Famer Bill Walton has passed away at the age of 71 per Shams. RIP to a legend. And yeah, but one of the cool things about Bill Walton is he had a second act in Boston where he had kind of had some seasons where he missed, and then he goes and plays for the Clippers, but then he goes to Boston and has one of his more impactful seasons as a sixth man in 1986, plays in 80 games, basically makes the 86 Celtics the Death Star. They just basically pummeled everyone on their path to the NBA Finals championship. And yes, just rest in peace to Bill Walton. And of course, we all know what he's become as a broadcaster. A lot of us youngins, like myself and Spencer Raxter and Korean Jesus, they probably know him more as a broadcaster, providing so much life and energy to those games. And D-Mac, I kind of feel like Bill Walton and yourself would have really vibed. I really get that. Yeah.
100,000,000%. He's a little bit more out there, I would say, than I am, but I could speak his language. For sure. Entertaining. You know, what I love about Bill Walton is that he was his own person. Beat to his own drum no matter what, and an original. Sometimes you had no idea where he was going, right? But it was always entertaining. And the one thing that I think that really came through is his compassion, right?
Yeah.
His compassion, not only for the people around him, but just like for life.
Yeah.
Even through the end. And I know that, 71 years old. Way too soon, and obviously the battle that he was going with cancer, but he fought to the end, and I think that if I was gonna think of Bill Walton, he did it his way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of respect, and there's something to be said about it, whether you agree or you disagree or whatever, but he was original, and all you have to do is go around and you look at, the people that were close to him or that knew him and the stories that they're telling, from his broadcast partners to his teammates to stuff like that. So Bill Walton, the one word I would use to describe him is original.
That is that is an understatement for sure. And Brandon Katz with a great take, actually. The 1986 Celtics are an all-time great team. They won 40 straight games at home. Yes, obviously you had peak apex Bird, McHale, and Parrish, but Bill Walton leading that bench unit with, obviously he wasn't what he once was, but with all of the skills and basketball IQ and everything, just made those 86 Celtics just an unstoppable force, and they won the title. And I believe that if the Lakers would have made the finals, they did not, the Rockets did, that Boston would have taken quick care of them as well, because that team was just loaded. And Robert Colosia, R.I.P. Bill Walton, one of the top 10 people I've had beers with. Hey, that's a nice flex, Robert. His lawyer was my sports law professor in law school, and he came to speak to us. Then a few of us had beers with him at Kelly's Pub afterwards.
That is so on, as Neil would
Yep.
say. Is that not on brand, Spenny?
Yep.
That's
On
so dope.
brand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure a lot of you guys got a chance to watch this, but that documentary came out fairly recently. The luckiest man who ever lived. I think that's what it was called, or the luckiest man on earth. But yeah, you got to just see his life, his highs, his lows, his injuries, his triumphs, his activism, his loving of the Grateful Dead, and all of that. He's
Big
just
deadhead.
yes, his announcing career, how it kind of spurned from having a stuttering problem to being one of the most recognizable color commentators probably in all of sports history at this point. So hell of a life, gone too soon at 71, and shout out to Bill Walton, a very deserving Hall of Famer.
You know what? Here's the thing too, right? So you guys being of a younger generation,
Yeah.
But when you say Bill Walton, you're dialed into exactly who he is, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Like isn't he like that uncle you wish you had?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like isn't he
Yes.
like everybody's favorite uncle?
I remember during one game of the Maui Invitational that Michigan State was playing in, Bill Walton was broadcasting. He was doing the color commentary, and he was talking about Miles Bridges, and then he just went on like a 7-minute sidebar about bridges, not like literal bridges.
No,
And it was
somebody
just
brought
like,
this.
come on.
Spenny, I was reading the tributes, and somebody said it so great. And when you think about it, right, Bill Walton was the greatest in blowouts.
Mhm.
In those tournament games or those blowout games where you don't even know there's basketball going on,
Yeah.
right? Because you're just so dialed into him and where he's going and how he could do. And you're like, because until you get used to a guy, and I go back and watch him, you be like, where is he going? And then all of a sudden you're learning, oh, man, I didn't know that about like Bridges. Oh, I didn't know. And he knew like like not bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Like when he tells a story, he either like if he was there or lived it or whatever else, and that's a special gift.
Yes, and Rack, he's about our age range, maybe a little bit older, but he probably knows Bill Walton as a broadcaster. I used to watch Pac-12 basketball games just to hear what the hell Bill Walton would end up talking about. And speaking of which, Neil Rule's not going to be here all week, but he posted this on Facebook, and I'm going to just read that for you guys. R.I.P. to the legend Bill Walton. Oakland, he's obviously the play-by-play guy for Oakland, played at Arizona about 8 years ago. Bill Walton was doing TV for Pac-12 Network. He was gracious enough to do a halftime interview with me for the radio broadcast. I asked one question. The interview went for over 7 minutes. He was the best. And yeah, but that's the thing. Like he rambled quite a bit, but as you guys were saying, it wasn't bullshit. It was always wisdom. And of course, you've got to love some of his signature phrases like, throw it down, big man, throw it down. I certainly remember that watching old Lakers games with Shaq and everything. He was absolutely the best.
Think about this. Mason Gillespie brings this up, right? If you're, the way the universe works, isn't it fitting that he passes the day after the final Pac-12 event?
Wow.
Nearly every memory I have of Bill was him commentating on the Pac-12. R.I.P. to a true legend and genuine person. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
He could make like a late night Washington State, Oregon State basketball game exciting.
But think about that though, right?
Yeah.
Like, whereas like it's, and I know I'm going to Walton sidebar here, but to me, it's like Mark Twain, born on Haley's Comet, dies on Haley's Comet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
75. Like certain, for people that believe in the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, that what a swan song or tribute. I mean, that's just crazy.
Absolutely. And I'll read this from Robert Colosi again, because we all know he lives on the West Coast. My little suburb near San Diego State University called La Mesa is where Bill grew up. I went to a Helix High, and you can see some of his high school stories if you watch that very well done documentary. And they gave him a star on the sidewalk like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And most certainly, and just while we're on this subject, it's amazing to even watch some highlights of him when he was young, playing on the Blazers and UCLA, and even some of his high school highlights. The guy would have been an all-time great if his body didn't unfortunately betray him, but he made the best out of a situation that could have made a lot of lesser people crumble. So that to me is one of his lasting legacies as well.
Probably left a bigger legacy for what he did
Absolutely.
than if he would have played.
100%. And that's what a hell of a life that he has.
Let's wrap up this segment here with what Tony D says.
Yep.
Yeah. Cancer sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what doesn't suck? Check out my hair.
Yes.
You want hair like this or any way you want to get it done, there's only one place to go. It's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, where awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. Stop in, sit back, relax, let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Dealer. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. If you're in any car dire straits whatsoever, get yourself hooked up at Feldman Chevrolet. They did it for myself and Matt Broder, and they can do it for you guys too. Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And I just realized you can visit other Feldmans, not just the Novi one. The Novi one is just the one where I got hooked up, but they're all fantastic, of course. And we've been talking a lot about the NBA and NHL playoffs, because how could you not? It's such an electric time. We talked about Bill Walton, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 71. But now it's time to get into the Detroit Tigers, who are currently on a 3-game winning streak. And I, like the person who usually sits in this spot, will take credit because I went to the Sweet Game on Friday and they haven't lost since. It's not the City Connect jerseys, it's me. No, but
Big Flannel energy.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, they may just have got themselves back into, I don't want to say relevancy because that they're still 9.5 games out of first place, but a lot of people suspected that this is a team that would be right around 500, and they're about a third of the way through the season, and they are 1 game under 500. So, D-Mac, just from what you've seen from this season, what do you make of the Tigers at this moment?
You know what? Obviously, when the pitching is, what we think it is. It's been as consistent, all year and stuff like this. It's amazing when the bats get going or they get any production or any hitting. Right. So I don't know. I'm still in the same spot as I was last week and stuff like this. I like the fact they're winning or they're pulling it out. And you know what? Like Javi Watch or whatever, somebody said he's bat. Like I saw a stat, he's batting over 400 with runners in scoring position.
He's back.
Well, you know what? Let's get guys in front of him on base. Right. Like if that's the fact, I mean, they're finding a way to do it. That's what you want. Little bit more, Sam. But I mean, it's just my opinion hasn't changed since last week because this is a team you got. These guys are grinding. They're finding it. Yeah, I'm happy they're winning and stuff like this, but they're not a contender because they still have the ineptitude. I guess I'm waiting for the bats to go cold again.
And how could you not at this point? Because they have gone cold at very inopportune times, like the Marlins series, for example. It would have been nice for them not to drop that one. And I think Chuck Brewer kind of puts it perfectly. This team is highly flawed still, and we're not going anywhere, but it's nice to have weekends like that. And it's nice to have weekends that culminate in a walk-off 14-11 win.
Speaking of which, Flannel, do you have anything you'd like to say to Matt Vierling?
All right, so I'm glad that you're on me, man. All right, so on Wake Up Woodward last week, I'll tell the whole story. I did what we often do on this show. I RIP'd, but in this case, I RIP'd the Detroit Tigers' playoff chances. This was after, I believe, it was after they just gotten swept by Kansas City, and I basically said they're done, stick a fork in them. And they still might be. They're still 9.5 games out of first place, and 3 out of the wild card. But I also mentioned on a Friday show with Neil that one of the changes that I would make to the Detroit Tigers for the remainder of the season is to ship Matt Vierling out of town. Didn't age necessarily well. He had a 4-for-6 game, including a walk-off home run on Sunday. Had a phenomenal series offensively. So maybe I will let things lie a little bit because this team, and I've said it before, and it's not saying much, but I think on any given day, they have a lineup that is capable of doing something. They've got major league capable players. And Matt Vierling, as much as I've maligned him for his low walk rate, he is one of those guys. He's one of the, I would say, bright spots of this team, whereas guys like Torque and Parker Meadows, for example, are not.
And Spenny, will you put the camera on me, please? Hey, Chuck Brewer, right there. I did not say that it's everybody else's fault for not getting on base why Javi Baez can't hit. All right, right there. But it would help because I'd like to see that and take that out of the equation, right, Spenny?
That is fair.
I mean, right?
Is fair.
So maybe technically there's a little inkling that it is everybody else's fault, but we'll wait and see.
Well, here's the
but
one.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Flannel.
Yeah, no.
Not only quit killing guys that aren't ready to die. Yes. Right? I mean, that you're going to get more in trouble for that when they're still breathing and actually can bounce back. And I love the fact that if you don't see, right, Spenny, he didn't say that 2 weeks ago,
Nope.
3 weeks ago. What you said it last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right
Yeah.
away.
On Friday, yeah.
Right away, Flannel. So maybe it's your fault. Maybe you should start challenging more of these guys.
That's
Who
right.
else would you like to see? In the like if it is your that has done it, take the time now and put a fucking fire in somebody else's ass.
All right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned it. Riley Green. Riley Green, man. I loved you. I called you my godson on Wake Up Woodward, but you have been awful in the month of May. Just unplayably.
You can't
unplayably.
have a godson and give him back, bro. He's yours. You're gonna have to figure it.
He's
Can
going
we
for the
take
milk.
Riley Green? You are my godson, but right now I'm very disappointed
All
in
right,
you. We
all
need
right,
a
all
little
right.
bit more.
That's fair.
Is that fair? Like,
Yes.
I'm just teaching you, like, you don't know that because you don't have godchildren yet or
do not.
children, but that's how you can't give them back, bro.
No, I understand.
But put a fire in his ass. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, no, it's just that he has not had a good month of May. In fact, for the month of May, you might as well call him Riley Meadows or Parker Green. Seriously, he's been horrendous in the month of May, and he got a day off. He's gotten a couple, actually, recently, and I would like to see him get back to form because I still believe that he is going to be a great player and one of the cornerstones of this team. The one thing that I've kind of taken away from this team, which is I got a couple of, I would say, negative takeaways. Number one, banking on a bad division is not a strategy. They're about 500, which is not that far off where I thought that they would be. I thought they'd be a few games over, but it is what it is. I thought being at this stretch that they wouldn't already be 9.5 games out of first place.
Yeah.
They're at the point where they've almost already, and I know mathematically it doesn't make sense, but they've almost lost it before they've even had a chance. They're still in the wild card. Obviously, they're only 3 games out, but still, it's definitely disappointing. Cleveland and Kansas City have played much better than we thought that they would. And also, the thing that is still probably, right now, in my opinion, the biggest nut punch in all of Detroit sports. Reese Olson has a sub-2 ERA, and the Tigers are 2-8 when he starts.
Mm-hmm. Only one win.
Imagine where they would be if they were just 6-4 or 7-3 when he started. He is a legit Cy Young candidate. He is every bit the Cy Young candidate that Tarek Skubal is. His win-loss record doesn't look good because he constantly, throws gems and then they give him no run support. They gave him two whole runs. Congratulations, Tigers. And that is sincere. Shout out Kerry Carpenter, by the way. And they were able to hold. But if they could just win some Reese, those are games to me that the Tigers just wasted. They basically just threw down the gutter. And that's where I'm kind of disappointed.
But if you're looking, and you're right, Sam, 100%, but
Yeah.
if you're looking at it, look at the consistency you're getting, right, out of there. Like, instead of saying, like, what hasn't happened with the run support or whatever, he keeps going. And that's got to be the most frustrating, especially for a young guy. You're going out and you're pitching, your balls off every night to not do it. So I give him a ton of credit because it hasn't change his game plan. He probably goes out there and goes, well, I gotta shut him out to get the W. But what he's doing, which is more important, is giving him quality innings.
Oh, he's been phenomenal.
Absolutely from what is he, your 5th starter?
I mean, well,
Fourth,
he's
fifth
turned
starter?
into your 2nd, but yeah, at the beginning of the year, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
And earn that, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that's just and I don't know what it is. Sometimes in hockey, you'll see a team play different in front of a goaltender. Why is that? I don't know. Is it a psyche thing? Your game plan should be the same.
It should be. And this leads me to the question that I want to ask to you, Spen Morax, because we've kind of been dancing around it, but I just want to ask you very directly. When it comes to this Tigers season right now, them being 1 game under 500, 9.5 out of first, 3 out of the wild card, are you looking more on the bright side? Is the glass half full or the glass half empty with you?
I would say the glass is half full because there are still things you can add. Like you've got the foundation of the pitching staff. You need to add bats. You need to. If they don't add bats, which I don't really see them doing that, then you're just going to be a 500 team. You're going to finish 3rd or 4th in the division, and it's going to be bad. But if you add 1 or 2 bats to this roster, you could jump up and be a wild card team possibly. But I don't see them doing it.
I don't see that. I see more of using some value, right? For younger I think that what we're building is those pieces, and I more expect a trade for a top prospect or a younger prospect. More of like every time Tarek Skubal takes a mound is the most valuable he's ever going to be to this organization, right? Like the consistency. And I know if you want to do a deep dive this morning on Wake Up Woodward, Matt Broder dove into what makes him electric. And it's coming from a pitcher. So, I'm still 100% on board. If we trade Tarek Skubal for Jax Holliday, the number one shortstop prospect from the Orioles, I see that's how we're building this team. Not spending money, but you're 100% right, Spenny.
Yeah.
If you spent a couple dollars, made a little bit of a move and got some bats in here, you can get yourself legitimately in that wild card and take control of it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the Central Division it's playing over its head.
Yes.
Could be, but that's not a strategy, as I mentioned in the beginning, because maybe they're not. Maybe I would probably suspect that they're not good. They're going to fall back to earth at some point, but a third of the season is a pretty damn good sample size, and Cleveland and Kansas City are playing like two of the best teams in the American League. And Dante151, thank you for the super chat. The Tigers and the Blue Jays are basically the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other, where they can go on hot streaks and then get cold. But what's funny is the difference is the Blue Jays, they were, I think, expected to be better, and they just haven't performed. Bo Bichette sucks this year. I just gotta get that out there. But the one thing that has disappointed me about the Tigers, and I went into my bag of stats. So a lot of people might like this, a lot of people might not, but you can't deny the numbers. Tigers bullpen sucks right now.
Yeah, it's been bad.
The Tigers bullpen, by the way, and this is, if you want my bizarro stat of the day, I'll give it to you right now. The Tigers are 18th in baseball in runs scored. They are 20th in baseball in bullpen ERA. Nobody would have ever guessed that. And obviously, it skewed a lot by that 14-11 win in which they scored a lot of runs and the bullpen gave up a lot of runs. But guys like Tyler Holton are way underperforming expectations. Even Jason Foley. Shelby Miller had a great year last year and a great start to the season, and he's fallen off a cliff, and he's on the IL right now. Even Matt Manning, when he started, and this isn't even a bullpen thing, he's kind of showed why he didn't make the roster out of a training camp. Even a guy like Kenta Maeda, although shout out, he pitched very well in the game that I was at on Friday. He hasn't had much of a season. And Casey Mize, I'm a little worried about him as well. So as much as for the majority of the season, the lineup has been more of the issue, their pitching and specifically their bullpen, it's kind of fallen off a cliff in the month of May. And I believe that's been a little bit underreported. I will just say that. That is for sure. But when we come back, we're going to talk about something that makes us a lot more happy. And I get it. They don't necessarily make you sad, the Tigers, but the Lions certainly make you a lot more happy than any team here. And we're going to most certainly talk about that. But first, Spencer Raxter, where can anybody go to get their pets the best?
Premier Pet Supply, obviously, because Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences, the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for over 30 years with 60 brands of nutrition and experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? It's a new era in sports wearables, new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. We've got the LFG RW for the Red Wings, we got Woodward Lions, we got Brad Holmes guy. Lots of good stuff there, and you should check it all out. Hoodies, tees, and the hats are guaranteed to turn heads. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Keeping it pushing on Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. That was my Neil Rule homage. How did I do? Everybody in the chat put that down, but thank you. And coming back now, we've got Darren McCarty to my left. We've got Korean Jesus in the audio booth, and we got Spencer Raxter in the TD booth. It's we're pretty much squad deep today, and let's continue to have a show. And speaking of guys who may have a show this year, or not really a show, but a heck of a year, Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is somebody that is said to be turning heads at OTAs. And Spencer Raxter, you've got a video.
I do.
So, we talking about the meat missile?
Talk about the meat missile.
Yeah.
What's your expectations for him and how important of a role that he'll play in defense in year 2?
Let me tell you, first off, he's a man. He's a grown man. He's really like taking control of this offseason the way he should take control of it. He's a true Mike backer. He's a guy that lives, breathes green dot mentality as a Mike backer. And he's done a really good job of actually, and all our guys have, just transforming their body because they've had a true offseason in the NFL. So he's done a good job with that. And then just watching him on the field, his zone drops, his mentality as far as going after the football has been outstanding. We only had 2 days of practice, and he's been doing a heck of a job. And just the way that he's leading the men as far as defense is impressive to see.
Ooh, that is some high praise from defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn about Jack Campbell, among others, of course.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So if I'm going to go to football here, I'm going to go to Spenmo Rax. What does Aaron Glenn mean by a green dot linebacker when he's talking about this and that? What does that mean to the layman?
He means the captain. He means the guy who's called. The green dot is the guy who calls the plays for the defense. So Captain Jack is what they called him in college, and so he's exuding that same energy.
So it's pretty much the Jared Goff of the defense. He wears the helmet that the play calls come into. He's the one that's doing check and signals. That's a hell of a lot of responsibility, isn't it? Especially for a second-year guy. Now, I'm not saying it's unprecedented because we've seen first-year guys get this in other successful teams. But I guess my question to you, Flannel, and to the room, what do you take from what Aaron Glenn just said there?
I take that Aaron Glenn expects Jack Campbell to take as big a leap as anybody on this defense, because I think Aaron Glenn knows that Alex Anzalone, he obviously was fantastic last year. The best season of his career, was the captain of that defense, but Jack Campbell's more talented. Jack Campbell actually has the, I would say, the skill set and the size and the athleticism to be one of the better middle linebackers in the NFL. But also, I think what we learned last year, and you saw it as opposed to other linebackers who were rookies, playing middle linebacker, in the NFL is really hard, especially going up against NFL athletes as opposed to Big Ten West athletes. I know Jack Campbell really struggled a lot in coverage last year. And at the beginning, you have to read, you have to react, you have to diagnose plays. The defensive line a lot of times was porous as opposed to what we think it'll be this year. So I think that Aaron Glenn recognizes what Jack Campbell can be and has been seeing some flashes. And I think that that's a very good sign, because I don't think anybody thinks that Jack Campbell is a guy who's not going to work hard, who's not going to put in the time, who's not going to get the absolute most out of his talent. And even last year, we saw some flashes. He was pretty consistently good against the run, and he did have 95 tackles, which was second on the team. That's not everything, but that's not nothing either. So I would say expect a big season from Jack Campbell if you're asking me, and I think Aaron Glenn believes that as well.
Benny, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with what Flannel said. I expect a huge jump from Jack Campbell this year. I think DJ Reader being in front of him is going to help that as well, because he's going to, clog up those run holes, take some blockers, and Jack Campbell will be able to do what he does best, which is just be a psychopath and play downhill and hit ball. So I expect him to take a big jump. A lot of people were not happy with his rookie season, but if you take out the amazing rookie seasons of Gibbs and Branch and Laporta, Jack Campbell didn't have a bad rookie season by any means. He was second on the team in tackles. He really started coming into his own in the end of the year, and he started making plays. So I think we were just spoiled with 3 fantastic rookie seasons that a good rookie season looked bad in some people's eyes.
Yeah, and I know this isn't a perfect gauge, but going into the draft, there was talk about could they draft Jack Campbell? Jack Campbell was not really talked about, but guys around that time, like a Diane Henley or a Drew Sanders or I forgot who the other one was, but still a couple of those guys. Trenton Simpson, good one. They basically, those guys and they got drafted later, they were basically special teams guys the whole year. They didn't really do a whole lot on their respective defenses, and Jack Campbell, although he didn't get a ton of snaps at the beginning of the year, became more ingratiated into the defense and was basically an every down player by the end of the year. And he had some flashes. Like I said, coverage was kind of rough. Those NFL running backs and tight ends, they hit a little bit differently.
Than Big Ten ones.
Than the Big Ten West. And Jack Campbell, super athlete in the Big Ten West, and I would say more of a league average linebacker when it comes to NFL. Maybe a little bit above that, obviously, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Korean Jesus, I got to go to you. What are your expectations for Jack Campbell this year?
I have high expectations for Jack Campbell. I am really intrigued on how he's going to take another step forward this year. I also think another very underrated thing in that video of Aaron Glenn is him talking about getting his body right. And I think that's such a big thing that this staff focuses on is everyone being in the correct shape, in the correct build to do what they need to do for this team.
For what they're going to ask.
For what they're
right?
going to ask.
The biggest thing, one of the biggest thing out there is there's 2 things, right? So you've taken the green dot and you've taken the Mike linebacker off of Anzalone, which means that that's the graduation, and having Anzalone there, right, to help him every step of the way, but not have to be the main guy. It's time to go up. But when these guys are talking about he's a man. That's the first thing he said.
Yeah.
He's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do we have on this defense, Benny, that, we started to get last year or whatever? Isn't that what we're more like looking right down the line? Hutch.
Yes.
That ain't a boy no more. That's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Lee McNeil. That's a man. He's only going to be more of a man having DJ Reader beside him, right? You bring in Davenport and, you got men.
Mm-hmm.
Like men in your backfield, men that have matured over a year, knowing in the offseason. The biggest thing there too, and I know this, right, is you've had a taste before you know what it's all about until you said, yeah, there are growing pains because the speed is a little bit different, but until you experience that and get burned, then you don't know what you have to do. You got a year away, go get your body right, get your mind right. This is everything along the lines, right? So is this fair to say the 2 guys that the coach and the defensive coordinator have come out, Jamison Williams and Jack Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 guys are the 2 guys on offense and defense that if we're going to go to the next level and win a Super Bowl, those are the guys. We know what to expect out of the rest of them, but those are the guys that have to step up either with big plays, big yardage, consistently, stuff like this. And those are the 2 that we're hearing about out of these OTAs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are the first-round picks that Brad Holmes has made that haven't quite popped yet to the level that like Jahmyr Gibbs or Aiden Hutchinson and Penei Sewell had. But we'll see. I think it's a big year for both of them. And Stephen Baffey brought up something great in the chat because it's something that I've always said. It's a little self-serving, but hey, it is what it is. The Lions defense has a theme. They like guys that do not just stop in the run game, but dominate in the run game. Making opponents one-dimensional is a huge advantage. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record at some point, but if you look at PFF, something that the guy who usually sits here hates and I love.
No, we don't follow that in this
I
show.
follow that.
Of course you do.
Hey, Jack Campbell was
Pro
one of
Football Flannel. It's really called.
But you guys are going to like this. Jack Campbell was one of the many players on the Lions defense whose grade skewed higher in the run game than anything else. It was him. It was Kirby Joseph. It was Brian Branch, John Kaminsky, Aleem McNeil, and DJ Reader did last year for Cincinnati, and he's coming over. And it all led up to a run defense that was pretty damn dominant. I would say second in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game. And that's where I look at the Jack Campbell flashes, in which he's shown some things that have already made him a pretty serviceable linebacker at times last year, and sometimes even a good one. And if you want to talk about the Alex Anzalone angle, it's my guess, I'm obviously not there, but I can kind of deduct some things, that Alex Anzalone probably sees the smarts and the football IQ that Anzalone already has in a Jack Campbell, but Jack Campbell just has a higher ceiling. Maybe Alex Anzalone is thinking, I can help make this guy better as well. And that would certainly, if you can get like the upside of a Jack Campbell with everything that Alex Anzalone provided last year, that's a hell of a player. That's a guy that could be sniffing some Pro Bowls someday. I will just say that. But yeah, Jack Campbell is certainly a guy that I expect to take a big leap next season and to be, I don't know about one of the better players on defense, but I'd say your best linebacker isn't out of the question.
I don't think so either.
I think leading your team in tackles isn't out of the question.
I don't think so either.
I think being like second, third, or fourth in tackles for loss isn't out of the question. Maybe even a couple of sacks, maybe even a pick or two. And I know that that's aggressive, but he was the number 18 overall pick, and he showed enough flashes to give me some faith that he's going to be a good football player in this league. And coming back, you know what? Let's keep going with the Lions, because I just love talking about that. And we're going to talk about another rookie last season who showed even more, but is he even appreciated enough? But first, I got to tell you about Planet Fitness, where everyone should go work out, myself included. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone, where anyone and we mean anyone can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Drive into summer and drive into savings during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest Memorial Day sale ever. We're stocked with new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs, all priced to move. Like this 2024 Silverado for only $217 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $199 a month. Find your freedom in a Feldman at the Memorial Day sale going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
Visit Dispo Dispensary today for deals too good to miss. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com. Your local cannabis plug
Smoke weed every day.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cruising on into the second hour. A nice little touch there by Korean Jesus. We are Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network the day after Memorial Day, Tuesday, May 27th, 2024. And I also have to give out an on-air shout out to Mr. Brady Wood in sales. Did a phenomenal job in that ad, laying on his bed, sleeping in his jammas, and the dog by his side. So a shout out, Brady Wood.
Shout out Brady Wood.
You absolutely killed it. You should get a Best Supporting. If we did like a Woodward Award, you would probably get Best Supporting. But anywho, you know who isn't a supporting character at all, who is turning into a star? That is Mr. Brian Branch of the Detroit Lions. And Brian Branch was just voted the most underappreciated Lions player. The first question I have to ask is, A, do you agree? And I'll go to you, D-Mac. Do you agree? And if not Brian Branch, who?
No, I think that tells a lot of from the inside out about guys that do the little things, or to me, this is an award for people that are put in uncomfortable positions and thrive, right? Or are asked something maybe that isn't characteristic. They shut up, they go out there, they do their best, and it's appreciated. And I think the growth that he's shown in different spots, as a rookie, was everything that we expected as far as his pedigree, his work ethic and stuff like this, and some of his talent showed. So to me, to not only go to a rookie, but it says a lot inside of that. That's a culture, right? That's a culture, and that's a motor guy. And, to say it, he's a guy that does the things like the grind line does that sometimes don't get noticed, but is appreciated by his team. So I guess that, that to me, that's a team award that you want to win, because so the underappreciated, it's actually not, because you are appreciated inside the room, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just underappreciated for what you do maybe on a lot. So, I mean, Flannel, you should actually hand the award out. You that would be the Sam Flannel underappreciated award, right? But do you agree? Like, it's intangible. It's not stats. The underappreciated goes to more of the culture and what's asked that we don't see on a day-to-day.
I would actually go to more the stats argument as per usual. And while we're on it, I will just get to that right now. Brian Branch was 5th on the team in tackles, 2nd in tackles for loss, 1st in passes defended, tied for 2nd in interceptions, and had the only pick 6 on the team this year. And oh, by the way, when it comes to Brian Branch, who are the 2 all-pro slot corners in the NFL this year? They were Trent McDuffie and they were Teron Johnson of Buffalo. Brian Branch yielded a lower passer rating when targeted than both of them. I'm not saying that it's a perfect stat and that he's better than those guys just yet, but as far as their secondary goes, the one who I trusted the most, the one that I think performed the greatest, was Brian Branch covering the slot. And you saw it in the playoffs as well. You saw him only give up 7 catches for 44 yards in 3 games when targeted in those playoff games. So I don't know if it's hard for me to say, because I appreciate Brian Branch. I think when you talk about defensive players on this team, as far as most consistent, you could even argue him being number 2 after Hutch, even over Anzalone. I know a lot of people might disagree, but Brian Branch was a young star last year, and he could end up taking that leap, and he might end up being moved around a little bit more to safety. But we'll see. I would say be careful what you wish for, because Brian Branch was certainly
just might get it all.
You just might get it. But
my question: who voted? This the Lions?
PFF.
So it doesn't fucking mean shit.
Hey, it does. I think it means everything.
I don't know if it was like a grade or anything. I think they just did it. They did it for every team who they thought was the most underappreciated player.
Hey, and I will say this. This is a little self-serving as well, but Brandon Katz, he came with like a bad one recently, but Hutchinson is the most underappreciated Lions player by the guy who usually sits here. That's for sure, and by some as well. I'm just saying, I don't think he gets praised as much as he should, but that's just me.
I don't think it's either of them.
Who is it?
I think it's Frank Ragnow.
Ooh.
I do. I mean, obviously the offensive line gets its praise as a whole, and a lot of it goes to Penei Sewell, but I don't think fans realize that we have the best center in the NFL.
You know what?
Like with Jason Kelce gone, he is the best center in the NFL.
But do you know why that would go unnoticed, right? Because when he did miss, your jack of all trades on the offense fit in there, Graham Glasgow, right? So we didn't notice as much. You do not. You're exactly right, Spenny.
Yeah.
100 million%. That's why it's always interesting. Like where I said, who voted on this? And this is so the narrative can be anyway. Choose your narrative of what you want. But if you look in, what would the team? I look at these questions and say, well, if the team voted on it, who would it be? And if it would be Brian Branch, it'd be because of all the things that he was asked to do to solidify. Do we not forget the injuries, especially to CJ Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley coming out of whatever, like that thrown right into the fire first game, Kansas City, like different shit like that, right? But to whatever else, Spenny, it's a couple different conversations because Frank Ragnow will be the one that always gets looked over, just like Jason Kelce, right? And if Kelce wasn't have the brother, then have the podcast and all this other stuff, right? They're just, the offensive linemen. So they're both good, whatever your narrative needs.
Hey, Frank Ragnow, it's hard to say that an all-pro is underappreciated, but I know what you mean. You don't really think about him when you think of maybe the best overall player on this team or on this offense.
He's a top 5 player on this team. He is one of the most important players on this team. And like I said, he is the best center in the league. Like, he was second team All-Pro last year. Jason Kelce was first team. Jason Kelce retired. It's Frank Ragnow's spot.
I 100% agree that he's the best center in the league. We have the best tackle and the best center, although we don't know how long with Frank Ragnow, but that's neither here nor there. Korean Jesus. Do you believe Brian Branch is the most underappreciated person on this team, player on this team? If not, who?
I do not. I love all the answers, though. I love the Ragnow answer. He is critical to this team, and it constantly gets overlooked. But for me, I'm going to go with someone who isn't even remotely close to necessarily the top 5, the top 7 players on the team, but I believe it's Kirby Joseph. I believe that he brings a lot to that secondary. He had to recover for a lot of people last year, and he was caught into some bad situations. I think this year we're really going to see him flourish. I really think we're going to be able to see him sit back, be that free safety, sit in center field, and just catch some picks and make plays. I'm really excited to see what Kirby Joseph can do this year, and I think he's the most underappreciated on the team, considering that he's not in that top 5, top 7 of players that are known as the Lions.
I got to be honest, when you say underappreciated, you could easily just say underappreciated by me. And I'm not saying I hate Kirby Joseph or anything like that. I think he's obviously been a heck of a turnover creator. He's made some big hits, gotten burned a couple of times too, but that's as per usual. I think when you look at that room, when you look at the contracts that are going to be doled out, I personally think Kirby Joseph is going to be one who ends up being expendable. Does that mean he hasn't been valuable? I mean, most certainly not. We as Lions fans are always going to love him first and foremost for what he did to Aaron Rodgers, intercepting him 3 times. And he led the team in interceptions last year as well. That certainly cannot go unappreciated. But I think I value Iffy more than him. I value Branch more than him. But we shall see. If he leads the team in interceptions again, what am I going to say? That's a very, very important part of playing the secondary position.
I think he's going to lead the league in interceptions.
You think he's Kirby Joseph?
Yes.
Wow, that's
break it down the why, and the why is because what did they add? Yes. They added we're gonna be as good at covering, right? Which allows him, which he's a ball hawk.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. Korean Jesus spoke to it about how he was covering up for guys a lot last year. Aaron Glenn said that in multiple press conferences. Dan Campbell said that in multiple press conferences, that he had to over contribute to guys like Cam Sutton, Kendall Vildor, Jerry Jacobs when they're getting beat at the line. He has to go help them because they're losing their spots. Now we have guys who are sticky in man coverage in Carlton Davis, in Amik Robertson, in Terrion Arnold, guys that are going to stay with their receivers more. The pass rush is going to be better, so that is going to force the quarterback to make worse throws. Kirby Joseph will have more opportunities to just be that center fielder and attack the ball at its peak, doing what he does best, creating turnovers.
That's a great question when it comes to Kirby Joseph, when it comes to a lot of players on this defense. especially those who were there last year. We all know how good some of them were on a defense that wasn't so great, like Kirby Joseph, for example, the aforementioned, like an Aiden Hutchinson or an Aleem McNeil. They're going to get more adequate help amongst the entire defense. So I just want to see if it improves people's games, if some people kind of get phased out of the rotation. We shall see, but it's certainly a good problem to have because the Lions defense has certainly not been reliable over the last few years, but we expect it to be better going into next year. And hey, we might even talk about that a little bit later. But coming up next, Dr. Jeff Pierce is in the house. We've got some major things to talk about with him. I'm excited to get to that. But first, if you need insurance, Darren McCarty, where do you go?
Only one place to go, Swiss Insurance. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. How do you go about it? You call my buddy Mark today at Swiss Insurance, 313-530-1698, or go to SwissINS.com.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. It's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick and GMC, the same great service the customers have come to know and trust. And Woodward Ave, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. LesStanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Neil Rule. The man to my left is Darren McCarty. And right now we are joined by Dr. Jeff Pierce for his weekly appearance on this show. And I'm really excited to talk to you because, well, the circumstances, unfortunately, are not great. But Ronald Acuna Jr., one of the brightest young stars in all of Major League Baseball, just suffered his second ACL tear in his career. I believe he tore his right one in 2021, and he just tore his left one just a couple of days ago, and now he's expected to, well, he's going to miss the rest of the season. So tell me what the recovery is going to be like for him and if he's going to be the same baseball player moving forward.
So, I mean, it's another ACL. I know we talk a lot about that and with football. And happy Memorial Day, guys.
Happy Memorial Day.
Throwing that out there.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, this guy is so, what's the best word, tenacious. I mean, he's just a fun player to watch. He makes baseball fun to watch. Like the commissioner said, or a couple people said, baseball is going to miss him. As far as the ACL and the second leg, he's going to go through the same rehab. He came back from the first one and they won, and he's performing at a high level. Do you lose a step? Yeah, you functionally lose a step when you get an ACL, but as he becomes stronger. I don't know the delta difference because he's already been through one of them already, so he's already improved himself to a level that he should be a higher trained athlete and not taking life for granted. So this one, I mean, if I had a bet, I think in a year we're going to see him playing again.
Yeah, no, certainly ACLs aren't what they used to be, but I don't know about you, but it was one of those where I'm a big baseball fan. I love watching Ronald Acuna, and that one kind of hit me a little bit. It's like, man, Acuna is going to be out again. I mean, did you get that same feeling as well?
Yeah, I mean, what did he do last year? He did 70 and 40 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, unusually unbelievable. And to come back from his ACL and perform like that. So this guy has, He's got that whole other mental picture that will overcome. I've been watching a lot of stuff on attitude and I am kind of attitude. And I think it's a great message to the listeners, to the people, and watching these guys. Like Darren McCarty was I am type of guy back in the day that I witnessed. And it wasn't so pronounced. And now with social media, it's like that positive attitude. These guys, like there was a study done out of Harvard, your attitude going in is probably 90% of what you're going to succeed in. So they found that the billionaires, the most successful people, were all like, I will be successful. I am successful. I am good. So it's like, Chris Osgood, I got to refer back to the day. Chris Osgood was a great goalie, right? The reason he was a great goalie is because he had a short-term memory. He didn't remember anything bad. He remembered everything good, right? Can you back that up?
No, 100%. I mean, the back in the day, and it was so we were raised by Grant Fuhr, who was the goalie for the Oilers that won all the cups, and it started. And then his mantra was, "I'm going to let in one less than what we score. So if it's 6-5, I let in 5. I don't care. We win. If it's 2-1, I got to do that." That's the mentality. And if anybody ever put bad goals and game losses, remember Al McGinnis beat him from the red just outside the blue line in St. Louis.
Oh yeah,
and we came back and won that series. The one thing about Chris Osgood, and this is fortitude to anything else, is that after that bad moment or Langenbrunner's goal in Dallas, right, where comes back with the best, the greatest performance, you just knew it the next timeout. That's what the professionals do. I think in this case, Doc, I guess the question is it the same leg, the same knee?
Well, he just said, I thought it was the same, but you're saying it's the opposite.
So is there, like for me, right, I've had 3 sport hernia surgeries, right? So after coming back and from the first one and knowing the time frame, the table, and we'll, as athletes, we'll push as hard as we can, and then we'll see the residual and play with the pain and go, okay, well, maybe next time I'm going to do it a little bit different. Is it the same thing? Because I'm not worried about coming back. Now with these knee injuries, we talked about it. They're not worried about coming back. It's just about what is the time frame.
We confirm that it's the opposite knee.
Everything I'm seeing is that it's the opposite.
Okay, so that means I thought we were going to lead to what is his risk of re-injury. Your number one risk factor for an injury is a previous injury. So with ACLs, they say, we make it better, stronger, and tighter than it was organically. I don't know if I necessarily believe that theory. We want to, and we want the player to believe that, right? But in the back of his head, he's smarter, he's educated. You learn from every sports hernia, right? You knew the science, you knew what was going on. So in the big picture, it's this guy has the attitude, I am going to recover. I am coming back. The Mamba, whatever you want to call it. But I think the message to the listeners and to the young listeners is like the attitude you come out with is 90% of who you're going to be, right? I mean, like a lot of guys we've seen through the years, players, doctors, I mean, just every part of life, the guys who's very positive, has a glass half full, is usually the more successful guy. Can you find pessimistic guys? Yeah, we can. But that I am means a lot. I am what? How you describe yourself. What's your cortisone levels climb to, your adrenaline levels. It's all controlled by an attitude that you present as you're, in this case, recovering. This guy's already out there, he's bummed, he's upset, but he's already on the recovery track.
I can confirm it was both knees. One, the right knee 2022, left knee this year.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So I mean, he's got a much better chance of coming back. There's a lot of young athletes, especially female athletes, with double ACL injuries. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is this one of those injuries too? Like it's better younger, or does it matter these days?
You're better off injuring yourself younger for recovery, if that's you mean. Yeah, I mean, and he's what, 26? How old is he?
Let me look at it.
He's young.
He's
he's on the younger side.
He's 24, I believe.
24?
Younger than you even think.
I mean, it's sad. I mean, but then we can talk about muscle imbalance. Does he have a muscle imbalance? Because he's got some powerful thighs.
Nope, he's 26. You were right.
He's thick.
Once in a while, I get it.
No, he most certainly
I'm
is.
impressed with my 40-70 thing.
Hey, 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases. That was a hell of an accomplishment. I don't know if we'll ever see it again. Maybe not even from him. But I want to shift gears to Bill Walton. Unfortunately, Bill Walton passed away at the age of 71 over the weekend. And you said you had a couple of experience getting to meet him.
Yeah, I mean, Bill's part of that alumni group that I get to hang out with Gervin and Dr. J and stuff like that. And it's funny because Bill would enter the room with all of us, and the guys, he's jolly, he's goofy, he's goofy, right? And the most polite way of friendly, he's infectious. He'll make some type of comment. It's just, he lives a very carefree life. And then he would leave, and then the guys would have a story about him. Everybody had a story about him, which I don't really want to repeat. But these are the guys that knew him through his whole career, through sitting out in Portland where they were calling him choice words by not playing because of foot injuries. It's like, how do you not? And then he proved himself by recovering. So, he was an unbelievable guy, and he was infectious, and he was, what's the word? You couldn't predict what he was going to do. Right? He was fun to have a presence, but unpredictable the whole time. And, I got to experience it a couple times with some of the alumni guys. Obviously I'm with Gervin. He's got, that he just says, Doc, that guy's just not right. So, that it's just, but in a polite way.
How about like, because we were talking about Bill Walton earlier, and Sam brought up the fact of, accomplishments young, but a guy who injuries, right? And if Bill Walton was coming through today's day and age, would the injuries that he had or what affected him, could it have been dealt with? Like if a guy's, there's a Bill Walton today, or was it something that, you said his feet and his knees and like.
Right. It was a lot of foot injuries. I don't know if he left Portland because of the poor medical management of the team. That was one of his biggest reasons for leaving, that he felt he was not treated at the highest level of medical conditions. So to answer your question, the simple answer is if he came to our group, for sure, he would have had a more less injured career, let's say. The technology, he's in Portland. I don't know who those doctors are. You're not in the mecca of medicine in Portland. I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, but maybe the advancements weren't there.
So that brings up that you totally flipped the question, but you brought up, so don't tell me what, tell me who, right? For anybody out there, and especially when you're young or whatever, it's where do you go to get your information, or who do you trust and stuff like that. And that's why we bring you Dr. Pierce every day. I mean, it's the history is right there. Me personally, with all our Red Wings teams back in the day and stuff like that. Now to the pickleball director of the world or whatever you are.
That's right.
The rock doc and everything like that. But it is very important, because you have to have that right program, just like anything else. And I'll forget it off of me. I'll go to my son, Griff, who I would bring to you because he had concussion
issues. He did come to me back in the day.
For whatever else. And he was a kid that, grew quicker. So he had a lot of, remember you did a lot of joint ailments and stuff like this. But again, and even when he got into his concussion problems. So I guess the point is that it's always important. And you'll be the first one to say is that, it's not bad. You don't take offense to get a second opinion.
No, I encourage it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Like I said, I am good at what I do.
You are.
Go challenge me. And I welcome it. I want it. I encourage it. When I can't get somebody right, I encourage them.
Here's it, like a little behind the thing is you'll have a program and we'll be working towards something like this, but Doc doesn't know different things, but say I'm doing something and it's irritating me. And I'll say, dude, can I do something else because this to get the main thing? Oh, I didn't know that was irritating. Right. So I have to communicate with you and you say, okay, we'll get the same thing. And we'll do it a different way. That just the little things like that for your recovery, for your workout, all these things that we're talking about Aaron Glenn talking about Jack Campbell becoming a man and stuff like that. This is all the stuff, the little stuff that goes into it.
But it's also the team. Like when we had you rehabbing, we had the trainer, we had the therapist.
Everybody's on the same page. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's 99% of good recovery, is that everybody's understanding the same thing. And if there's questions, like, I have patients like, well, that was hurting me. Well, give them the feedback. Sometimes I have to explain to them, it's going to hurt for a little bit because you've been avoiding this movement. Or, you know what, that doesn't make sense. You should be changing it up.
Or am I hurting something and this was the one no, that's scar tissue. You're pulling through the scar tissue, right?
Absolutely.
So
especially post-op spine injuries, spine surgery. There's a lot of scar tissues. There's a lot you have to do. They say just go home and rest. No, you got to go home and you got to do certain stretches. There's nerve stretches. There's a lot of things going on that's needed for easy recovery. That's why certain people recover in, half the time as others. I mean, you've got to have a good team. Fortunately with the professionals, there's very few holes, although I'm realizing there's a lot more holes in the NFL of treatment than I realized because of the avoidance, because it's flipping the other way. We're really getting off track here. Get back to Bill Walton.
You're good.
Basically, they're getting afraid because it is such a business and they know who's wearing what hat. The training system for the team is wearing the corporate hat versus the independents are wearing the hat for the player. So you're seeing more and more of these places popping up around the country that are doing a lot more treatment in the off season and during the season, where, there's the secret sauce being done, and the players need to have the confidence that I can talk about my injury in front and not worry about my contract the following year. So that's an unfortunate thing that's fighting the medical care that's being done by the team.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Pierce. That was medical director at Michigan Sports and Spine Centers and our injury insider here for his weekly appearance. Thank you so much.
Fresh off an eagle.
Fresh off of an eagle.
Flare driver, 5-iron to a foot. Way to go, Doc.
I mean, it was. I missed the other putt for my other birdie. It would have been a record day for me.
All right.
It was a
keep
short
grinding, Doc.
The only thing we wish is that Bill Walton would have had a Dr. Jeff Pierce back in the day. But hey, it is what it is. But you know what? If you want to watch a new morning show and maybe see a little bit more of this guy right here, Wake Up Woodward. Woodward Sports has a new morning show. Start your day with Wake Up Woodward, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. live on Woodward Sports. Join Kool-Aid, myself, Flannel Sam Broder, JB, and KG, and Korean Jesus every morning as they cover all of Detroit sports. Sports talk, banter, and live fan interaction, all on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woo-woo. Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Congratulations to the real coach of the year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
The new glorious ice water bubble hash pre-roll now with diamonds, constantly pushing to create the best canning experience. Perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flower with only the highest terps, making the best even better. Glorious Cannabis. Check us out at your local retailer or gloriouscanna2ns.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Neil Rule. The man to my left is four-time Stanley Cup champion with the Detroit Red Wings, Darren McCarty. We've got Korean Jesus in the sound booth, and we got Spenmo Rax in the TD booth. And this is such a great time of year. And Spenmo Rax posed the question, and I think it is just incredibly interesting. We're looking through the playoffs right now, and we're looking at some guys who could get off the schneid when it comes to championships. We've got Luka Doncic, who looks like him and the Mavericks are going to close it out and go to the finals. We got Jason Tatum of the Celtics, who just made the finals. We got Connor McDavid. We got Sergei Bobrovsky, both of those guys whose teams are down but still are very much in it. And I guess I have to ask first, who do you think, Darren McCarty, is most likely to get their first title this year out of the guys I just mentioned? Or is there another superstar that I didn't mention that could get it?
What about Bob, baby?
Hey.
What about Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky? Definitely, a guy that sort of slipped through the radar in his career, arguably number 5 to 10, consistently the goalie, and sort of when he was in Columbus, he didn't really have that team or that build, but how he's playing now from the beginning. Jesus, did you see the save in the opening series that he made? Bobrovsky, probably opening night from behind, back.
Yeah.
He's doing everything to keep this team. And this is where pedigree and goaltending. So I believe with the experience from last year, from this whole team, they're on a mission. He is the goalie that I trust the most because of the experience, right? Second, I think it's going to be who he faces in the finals in the Dallas Stars and Ottinger. And it just goes to show you, like, there's levels to this, but it's his time, and everybody else around him. It's Barkov's time, right? Kachuk's time.
Mm-hmm.
This team that they've made, Aaron Ekblad, who has evolved himself into a great two-way player, not just offensively. So, to me, and I mean, it's still a war with the Rangers and stuff. Yeah. But if you ask me out of those guys, I think, Bobby's going to be hoisting the cup and enjoying. So as Florida Panthers right now, I will put him ahead.
Do you second that, Korean Jesus?
I do not, because of my Dallas Stars, and I believe the Rangers are going to win that series. So I'm going to stray away from D-Mac, actually. I'm actually going to go outside of my arena. I'm going to go with Luka Doncic, because I think the Mavs are going to win the NBA Finals. And if you do recall, I don't remember if it was on Big D, Woodward, Wake Up Woodward, or Heavyweights, as I make so many appearances everywhere. I said that I believe that Kyrie Irving has a great chance to win Finals MVP a couple weeks ago, and I stay true to that statement. He's 17-0 in closeout games for a reason, and I think that Mavs team has that killer mentality that Boston doesn't have and lacks and seems to lose because of in the NBA Finals every year.
See, I don't think Kyrie's going to win Finals MVP, and it's nothing against him. I just think Luka's a little bit better, and he fills the stat sheet more. And we all know that plays a big role in winning a Finals MVP, as it should. Luka is I would say the best. He has the chance to become the best player in the world. If he wins the Finals MVP this year, I think that he's got that title on lock. So, Spenmo Rex, I'll go to you. Who, or maybe multiple people, who's getting off the title schneid this year?
I agree with Jesus that it's going to be Luka. I think Luka gets his this year. I think the Celtics are frauds. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in their ability to beat a team like the Dallas Mavericks. I think that although they have good perimeter defense with guys like Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown, you need better than good perimeter defense to stop guys like Kyrie and Luka. That's what they're showing you in this Minnesota series. Like, Minnesota's got good perimeter defense, and they're not handling these guys at all. So I think the Mavericks win the NBA title. I think they do it pretty comfortably.
Yeah, and I would probably go with the Mavericks as well as the favorites. And I think what I really want to hammer home to people is just how much a finals MVP would mean to the legacy of Luka Doncic. Because did you guys know that Luka Doncic, actually, I know it's a small sample size, is actually third all-time in points per game and second all-time in playoff points per game, 12th all-time in assists per game, and 13th all-time in playoff assists per game. He's been throughout his career, just from the moment he stepped on the court till now, just a star. He had a few rookies troubles like everybody does, but ever since then, he's basically been an all NBA caliber player every single year. And once he stepped foot in the playoffs, he's pretty much been a playoff demon from day one. Although this year he's had some struggles at the beginning, he's been a little bit hurt. But if he can add a finals MVP to this resume, you're talking about top 25 all time already, maybe even flirting with the top 20 all time already because of what he's already done in terms of putting up numbers and kind of leading the Mavericks in this post Dirk era. So a finals MVP for him, man, he enters a room to me with guys like Kevin Garnett and Dirk Nowitzki and, Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe even on a lower end, Nikola Jokic. He would enter that rarefied air. That's how good he's been throughout his NBA career.
Here's the thing about Luka, too, that you bring up a great point. He's one of those superstars that makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not only got to do it my way. And has he not proven that with the communication and the fact that, Kyrie Irving, he's not a number 2. Right? Like for most teams, he's a 1. But here, to win a championship and understanding, and I think as Kyrie has matured as a basketball player to realize what he's got from not having it, from having it with LeBron, I mean, this is the closest thing that he's got. And somebody brought up the fact, Sam, and I only saw your name in capitals, so they're swearing at you, but isn't Luka's comparables to LeBron at this stage in his career?
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, so to what you're saying, he's on brand.
Yeah, and I appreciate you for having my back. Nowhere did I ever say that Kyrie was top 25 of all time. I said Luka. Hell, maybe even if they don't win it, he's top 25.
Kyrie wins, and Kyrie might be top 25 playoff performer of all time.
Hey, he's had a hell of a playoff career. Like if you're talking about Robins, if he gets one for Luka, that would be.
What's that stat, Spenny?
He's 14-0 in closeout games in the playoffs in his career.
But see, and that's where
No, that's the stat.
And
I don't care how inflated it is or whatever it is. That's the stat.
Mm-hmm. But LeBron was there for 10 of them.
Big fucking deal,
what do you
bro.
mean it matters?
It goes there. You're gonna use Takai. Oh, it matters. So LeBron could have done this 14 fucking straight. Michael Jordan could have done this. They all had the opportunity. What I'm saying is Kyrie has that, Sam. You can't you could take all my 4 cups away and fucking do whatever, but you can't call it for what it is. 14-0 to whatever. The constant denomination to whoever greatness he played with is him.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. So
the constant denomination to 14-0 is Kyrie Irving.
Must be nice to be the second best player on the majority of them. I'll just
say
that.
My God, do you not
hater.
need it? I'm sorry that because you need that number 2 guy that can fill that role to win like that, because obviously all number 1 guys don't have 14-0.
Yeah. All those closeout wins that Michael Jordan couldn't get early years in Chicago. Man, what a bum. All those closeout wins that LeBron couldn't get early years in Cleveland.
Sam, you're losing point of the fact. Kyrie Irving, 14-0. What's the constant out of whoever it is? Yeah, LeBron, right? Kyrie went through the same youthfulness, but found a way to win. I'm just saying, does that not stick?
Oh, it's true.
And actually, Sam, it's on brand for you to argue against to the fact that, yes, no one's saying that he didn't play with LeBron or play with superstars, but also LeBron had the opportunity. Fucking Data Davis had the opportunity. Stephen Curry had the opportunity. All the great players, Luka, fucking Jokic, but yet who's got it?
Kyrie's better than all of them. Put him top 5 of all time. How about that?
No, Sam. Kyrie. See, why you got to be a fucking idiot like that? I said he could be top 25 playoff performers of all time, and you stick that. But you don't give a fuck about that because it's only regular season stats with you on every fucking buddy. So have at it. Not once did I say he was a top 5. Spenny, did I not say he might be a top 25 And that stat right there
Playoff
puts him right in. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying. And it takes it goes to show you the leadership that Luka Doncic has, fucking Jason Kidd, to make it work where it hadn't worked before. But also you have to give Kyrie some credit.
He gets a lot of credit.
LeBron doesn't have one of those championships without Kyrie, and that's a fact.
That's fair. And Kyrie is nothing without LeBron.
Unless he wins the
Well,
championship
he's proven
this
that
year.
he's something without LeBron. If he wins it this year with Lukic,
Then it's the same
he will
exact
say
thing.
that he's the fucking greatest Robin of all
Okay,
time.
fine. But he was toiling away in Cleveland irrelevancy before LeBron got there. Toiling.
Because he's a number 2. Because when he realizes what the superstar,
and
dude,
he-
it's
and
like the
nobody's on
fucking
his
same
team.
thing.
Yeah.
Argue about fucking Eiserman could have done without the Fedorov and without either or. Fucking we're
LeBron
talking
couldn't
about.
get it done without superstar teammates.
I understand that. Nobody gets it done without
So
star
why are
teammates.
you holding it against Kyrie then?
Because Kyrie's not the number one option. That's my thing. You guys
He's
are
the
acting
number
like,
1 after Luka.
You guys are acting like
He's
Kyrie
Luka's
just-
number 1 option.
Fine, he's a number 2. You guys are acting like Kyrie just sprays winning dust everywhere he goes and doesn't benefit.
You know where he sprays winning dust, Sam? What's that record? 14-0 and what?
Okay,
Closeout
fine.
games?
But LeBron was there for 10 of them. He climbed on LeBron's coattails.
Okay, so then LeBron had closeout games somewhere else with other people. That means that fucking they couldn't get it done. It's just the fact of fucking how great Kyrie is, and don't say that you're giving him his props when you fucking take him right away.
I don't take him.
You fucking did. Oh, he's great at it. Not saying like
Kyrie is a better closer than LeBron James is.
No, he's not. Stop with that bull.
I think there's
God.
facts to prove that.
5 buzzer beaters in the playoffs. LeBron. Wow.
Yeah, well, when you play 100 games in the playoffs, you're more than likely going to get 5 of them.
LeBron's not clutch.
Spenny,
Let's do
I
that again, even though he's the most
I
clutch.
even got a playoff overtime goal.
Yeah.
And a Stanley Cup clincher too. It's
true.
If
You know what?
forgot.
We can. How about we table this for a second because there's more to say about this subject. Not necessarily Kyrie, but there's some other players I want to get to. But first, Darren McCarty, you were there before the show.
Absolutely awesome is when a guy can get an amazing haircut like myself. You guys call it Coolio edition, whatever it is. Stop in and see Beth. She'll hook you up too. Lady Jane's Haircut. You can stop in, sit back, relax. Let one of the talented stylists make you look and feel great. Walking anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Premier
Welcome.
Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for over 30 years with 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam, filling in to Neil Rule, the man to my left, 4-time Stanley Cup champion with the Detroit Red Wings, Darren McCarty. And yeah, we were having a discussion about current players in the NBA and NHL playoffs whose resumes could be, I would say, augmented by a championship. Some of them, and we were kind of discussing who we thought could be a champion. And I know Luka Doncic is somebody who came up and is probably the name that we all agree on. I think it's going to be Luka, Justin, Korean Jesus, Spenny, you said that as well. D-Mac, you went with Sergei Bobrovsky, which they're going to have to come back against the Rangers first, but we shall certainly see. But nobody mentioned Connor McDavid. That's what I thought was interesting. He's one man, if he adds a championship to his resume, he's a guy that could be in waters that no player that I even mentioned before, including Luka, could be in at their respective sport if he's able to win a title or two, maybe even without one.
Why? What do you mean? What do you like? Do you
Like
think
the
he
best of all
needs
time.
that to? It just puts the cherry. He's the cup for him's a cherry on the top.
See, I think
So-
eventually he's got to get one.
You would say that, but it doesn't take. So it doesn't take. Does it take away the fact that he's the greatest player in the world?
Nope. No.
Right, but it just takes into where you're going to vote him in at the end of the all-time accomplishment, right? To say that the all great players at one time need that championship. And to him, it's the team that's built around him, right? And what is it? And use this as a microcosm to what's happening in Detroit, because at the end of the day, you look in net, you have the goaltending to win, right? This is the way that the team's set up. And the reason you don't say that is not because of Connor McDavid and everything he does. He steps on the ice anytime he steps on the ice, he's probably going to get 2 points or more. Playoffs, regular season, whatever, but that's not enough in the NHL to win a championship.
No,
right?
Of course. And being a superstar in hockey, you don't control the whole game as much as, say, being like LeBron and MJ.
So if McDavid's talent was an NBA, right, I think it's easier for him to win a championship.
100,000%.
Right.
Korean Jesus, I'm interested to get your point of view on this. Does McDavid eventually need that championship for his legacy to be all that it can be?
I think for it to be all it can be, yes. But in terms of his legacy as a totalitarian, I don't think so. I think that he already steps on the ice, and what D-Mac said, he controls the play and the ice when he is out there. But there's 4 other lines that have to take the ice in a hockey game, and you can't control the ice when you're not on it. I think that it definitely will put a stain, but I don't think it will be. I think it will be overlooked by how much of an impact he has when he's on the ice. You see it. You don't see that these days. Players just completely taking control, being able to skate end to end, control the power play, staying out there all 2 minutes. I think that's very, very. Only the Edmonton Oilers have that with Draisaitl and McDavid, and I do think it will put a stain on his legacy.
Spenny, what say you?
No, I don't think it. Like, I'm with D-Mac. I think it would just put the cherry on top. He's already one of the greatest hockey players ever based on skill-wise and what he does. He's the best player in the league by far.
Fact.
And I agree that it's such a team sport. It's like saying, like, Dan Marino isn't one of the best quarterbacks of all time because he didn't win a championship. Like, these guys, it's such a team sport. You can't just do it by yourself. And the goalie is the most important player on any hockey team because they are the only player that is on the ice for the entire game. And not having a goalie is bad. It's hard to win no matter how good you are if you have a subpar goalie.
Skinner's a sieve.
Would you equate this to Dominic Hasek and Luc Robitaille?
Yeah.
2 of the greatest at their position, right? Where they came here and got their cup. Now, Luc Robitaille is the highest scoring left winger in NHL history. Would have already been that, and like they already have the Hall of Fame career. The championship just stocks it away, right? I think that I view McDavid as that too, because he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, right? Because of the impact and whatever else.
An eye test, like just seeing the guy in the ice.
But again, I'm not going to shoot anybody down. That puts McDavid the 10th greatest hockey player and then they go by somebody who's got one that's better. So he definitely needs one. I don't. It's tough sledding right now in Edmonton. I don't know. I think the question about McDavid is that if you believe he wins a cup, is it in an Edmonton jersey or does he have to pull a Gretzky?
I would agree with that. I don't think it's in an Edmonton jersey.
I agree too. I don't think their team is built, and I think they're at a point where in a year or so they're gonna be thinking,
Bring him home.
Do we blow
Bring him home. Bring him home.
Do we blow it up?
Could you imagine?
Or do we keep trying to reconfigure this team? But I think that the Edmonton Oilers are going to be put in a situation where they're going to have to blow it up, and they're going to have to trade McDavid and Draisaitl most likely.
Yeah. And in no way, shape, or form would I ever imply that Edmonton not winning a cup is McDavid's fault. It most certainly is not. He's the best thing that they have. It's just when you look through the annals of NHL history, when you look at some of the best players to ever play the game, you look at Wayne Gretzky, a multiple Conn Smythe. You look at Mario Lemieux, multiple Conn Smythe. Bobby Orr, multiple Conn Smythe. Patrick Waugh, for example, is another one. Hey, he does have 3 though. He's a hell of a player.
He's a bum.
You know who's got 4?
Cups.
Just saying.
So you're better than McDavid.
No.
Better winner than
Fucking
McDavid.
Waugh.
But
Just 1 more chips.
so Darren McCarty's better. That's fine.
No, Darren McCarty's a better playoff performer. Got better playoff championship. If you go by championship rings.
More playoff success.
Than Patrick Waugh, the only 3-time Conn Smythe winner in NHL history.
But he's got 3 cups, Sam. I thought we would go by the totality of the hardware. Right? If they ranked him, then he's got 3 and I'd be ahead of him with 4. Hey, I don't care how much I played and how impactful he was. Isn't that just stats? Isn't that using your math?
That is not even close to what I said at any way, shape, or form. I was the one who actually said that those aren't, like, Kyrie Irving being 14-0 in closeout games is not just about Kyrie Irving. It's about getting to play with LeBron James. 10 of those were LeBron James as the number 1 player.
Who else was on that team that helped them win, Benny? On that Cleveland team. Was it just LeBron and Kyrie?
No, it wasn't. There's a lot of Kevin Love was on that team.
Oh,
Ray Allen was
the
on
Love
those
Doctor.
teams. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
A lot of good players.
Yeah. Amazing.
A lot of good players. A lot of good players who had the exact same impact as LeBron in those championships. Exact same. Everybody gets the same credit because we are in Little League now, apparently.
I would say LeBron wouldn't win. If LeBron didn't play with Ray Allen and Kyrie Irving, he wouldn't have 2 of his championships.
That's fine. And you could say the same thing for like MJ and Pippen and like Magic and Kareem and Worthy and Kobe and Shaq and Gasol and all of that. You don't win championships by yourself.
But Kyrie has to.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you're giving Kyrie 100% of the credit because he's undefeated in closeout games when he was the second fiddle to LeBron in 10 of them.
But he was the closer.
No, he wasn't always the closer. It was like...
If you had a last-second shot and you needed it for the win, are you giving it to LeBron or Kyrie?
LeBron!
I'm giving it to Kyrie 10 times.
Okay,
I'm giving
fine.
it to Kyrie.
Okay,
I'm giving it
fine.
to Kyrie.
And LeBron, even if he doesn't make the shot or take the shot, he's going to make the right basketball play, which everyone's going to clown or whatever, but I'd rather have him doing that than taking like a fadeaway over 3 people than your Messiah and God, Kobe Bryant. But that's neither here nor there.
Nobody mentioned Kobe at all.
No, but I'm reading the chat, Spenny. I'm reading the chat.
D-Mac. The away fan says, when D-Mac scored the second goal of Game 1 in the 0-2 hat trick, tell me Wah is better than D-Mac.
This is my favorite goal of that hat trick, too.
Mm-hmm.
Short-handed, top of the circle, clapper, short side over his glove. Bad glove, Sam. So maybe I'm a little biased because I owned them. But,
all right, so apparently Darren McCarty's better than Patrick Waugh at hockey. That's
in that
what the chat
moment,
is saying.
in those moments,
yeah.
when they mattered the most.
Yep.
Yes, it was, Sam. Yes, it was. Just like glorious. I'm sorry, just like this. Where is it? Here somewhere. I got it, because you got to visit Dispo Dispensary today for deals too good to miss. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere. Shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com. Your local cannabis plug.
Smoke weed every day.
Drive into summer and drive into savings during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest Memorial Day sale ever. We're stocked with new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs, all priced to move. Like this 2024 Silverado for only $217 a month. Or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $199 a month. Find your freedom in a Feldman at the Memorial Day sale going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. Going in for our last segment of the day. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Neil Rule. We got Darren McCarty to my left, 4-time Stanley Cup champion with the Detroit Red Wings. We got Korean Jesus in the sound booth and Spenmo Rax in the TD booth.
Hello.
Hey, hello. And while we are here, dropping some of your best mailbag questions to end the show. I should have said that before the segment, but you know what? It is all well and good. I'm pretty sure, Spenny, that the Anthony Davis move was all Rob Pelinka and everybody, because when it works out, it's the front office. When it's bad, it's LeBron, right? It's Le GM.
That is true.
Hey, and by the way, that Anthony Davis trade, whether you guys like it or not, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
They were not a playoff team the year before.
I got a question for D-Mac.
They're
Go
not
ahead.
a playoff team now.
Who was your favorite teammate that you felt like was criminally underrated?
Well, I'm answering that question to whoever asked me in the chat. And he asked me about in Calgary. It was Christian Uselius, right, who scored 35 that year. The irony of that story is when I tell in my slapstick comedy tour the story where I go, you know, after my first few years in the NHL, when we lost in the playoffs, I went over, did hockey school in Sweden for a month each summer with 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds. And before people say, hey, D-Mac, oh, that's nice, you know, giving some knowledge to the younger kids. F you. I was in the hockey school with the 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, and one of the kids that was 10 years old dangling my ass over there was Christian Uselius. Called him Magic back then. He had hands and probably still does. He's probably just dominating some beer league.
Shout out the away fan for that one.
Everywhere. As far as Red Wing teammates, the guy that always gets overlooked for as integral as what he meant, not only, you know, coming up big at different times, but in the whole culture of the locker room, was Doug Brown. The sixth Russian, Brownov.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of his relationship with Sergei, you know, the fact that even before in New Jersey, when Slav Fetisov came over, him and Doug Brown are good friends. They're actually godparents of each other's kids. So there's that, you know, why does it all work out? He's the one that people never really know how it sort of made it all work. So I'd say that knee down, Dougie Brown.
Knee down, Dougie Brown.
Yeah.
And Korean Jesus, I just want to give you a chance really quick to plug your new podcast again with intern Joel. I saw you were doing it in the chat, but tell the whole world about it.
Thank you. So tonight will be our first episode releasing after Woodward Heavyweights. Shout out, they had us on Friday to promo our show and to have a good time with them. It will be dropping on my YouTube that's connected to chat. I'll post the link in a second. It is Yin Yang Sports. And I'm excited to record our first episode in a little bit with Joel and release it after Heavyweights, because you guys have to make sure that you go check that out before you check us out.
Shout out.
Do you want to give a little teaser on what it's about, or do you want everybody to find out for themselves?
I mean, the little teaser is that we are two opposite energies. I'm very energetic. Joel is very chill and very relaxed, and he likes Michigan State and I like Michigan, and that's all I'm going to tell you. You're going to have to tune in for the rest.
If Joel is relaxed, I don't know what relaxed is. I love the guy, but in the back, that man's got some energy, some great energy, some youthful energy that I need in my early 30s age of a 32. But to me, I see you guys as both as just high energy individuals. But maybe on air it's a little bit different. I'm looking forward for sure to tuning in, and I definitely appreciate the initiative that both of you guys have. to start your own thing here, because the only way you can go is up. That'll about do it for today's episode of Big D Energy. I had fun filling for Neil Rule, and I will be in for Neil Rule the rest of the week, so be sure to tune in. I believe KG will be back tomorrow, but don't you worry, because Korean Jesus will be in the Maz chair.
Betty, are we doing a top 5?
Oh, yeah. We got to think of one.
Top 5 sauces?
Top 5 will be a surprise.
Top 5 surprise.
Tomorrow, the boys are going to talk
Tantalizing.
about it.
No, I can't wait, because I've never done a top 5. Or maybe I have, but it's been a while. But I'm going to have to find a good picture for Ryan Lentz to use, because
he'll find one for you.
Oh, I'm sure he will, because the mirror selfie of me in the Kid Cudi shirt, it's funny. It's funny. It was a look, but I think we could do even better than that. So for Flannel Sam, for Darren McCarty, for Korean Jesus,
Deuces.
For Spenmo Rax, we will see you all tomorrow on Big D Energy. Be sure to tune in to the rest of the programming that Woodward Sports has to offer for you today. Peace.